Happy 2026! Today we are catching up on everything that happened over the holidays. New reveals, updates, and even a few high-quality freebies. No Rest for the Wicked finally showed off its long-awaited co-op gameplay in the last Wicked Insight stream. And a date! January 22nd. But for us, it wasn't exactly what we expected. The good news first. Up to 4 players share persistent realms, fighting side by side through the campaign, with drop in, drop out at any time. They emphasized their intent to create an experience where you go on an adventure together, rather than just experiencing a theme park side by side. Every aspect of your progress carries over: quest, bosses, loot, and you can split off or stick together while playing, whatever you prefer. With weapon reworks tuned around group play, which probably means apologetic sound effects while hitting your teammates. We're just wondering why friendly fire is a thing then. That's my chest! Minor disputes settled. We don't know about you, but for us, friendly fire is kind of a weird decision in an ARPG, and I really hope that we will be able to toggle this. Because, as fun as it might sound, constantly having to dodge Nox's arrows will probably get old very fast. But maybe your friend's aim is just better. So, if you have been waiting to play this ARPG together, this might be the change you have been waiting for. Scars of Honor is an upcoming free-to-play fantasy MMORPG, currently in active development and now even with a demo on the way. Instead of chasing modern MMO trends, the team is openly aiming for an older school structure, skill-based combat, strong social systems, and a strict no-pay-to-win approach, with monetization which is limited to cosmetics only. And with inspiration from the golden age of MMORPGs, also come the 2 obviously opposing factions that players can join. Choose between the Sacred Order, built around faith and preservation, or the Domination, a loose alliance of undead, demons, and war-driven races. Each race comes with its own identity, starting zones, and mechanical twists. Classes are more modern, avoiding strict fantasy templates, with ones like Pirate or Mystic, supported by a deep talent system that allows for creative, hybrid playstyles. The Scars, from the game's name, play a role too, as they act as permanent modifiers earned through milestones. They show up on characters visually and mechanically reflect what they have done, not just what they are wearing. Crafting plays into this with minigame-driven systems that actively shape equipment and spells. Combat is built around timing, positioning, and reactive play, without passive rotations where you wait for your 10-minute cooldown to refresh. PvE content focuses on replayable, procedurally shifting dungeons and scalable group activities, while PvP ranges from small arena formats to battlegrounds and larger faction conflicts. The big social layer are guilds, positioned as the backbone of the experience, directly playing into progression and world events. Cross-platform play is planned as well. And while no release date has been confirmed yet, we are keeping an eye on the upcoming demo and will let you know as soon as there's more to share. Scramble Knights Royale is an upcoming indie battle royale, and it takes a very different angle on the genre. The game mixes top-down, classic Zelda-style exploration with 32-player PvP. Each match begins with all players arriving by boat, riding a giant turtle to shore before scattering across procedurally generated islands. From there, it is less about sprinting for a gun and more about improvising a build. You explore towns, solve puzzles and dungeons, take quests from NPCs, and loot every bit of gear that suits you. Gear can then be upgraded and combined for distinct playstyles. A closing ring steadily pushes everyone towards the center. But how prepared you are when that happens depends entirely on how you use the early game. Combat relies heavily on weapon mastery, as swords, bows, and shields all have unique movesets. If you get knocked out early, you are not done just yet. Eliminated players spectate the match as wandering chickens, which is exactly as silly as it sounds. Winner winner, chicken dinner. Oh wait, no way, that's cannibalism. Multiplayer starts with free-for-all matches where friends can queue together, while duo-focused modes are planned for later. One of the more unusual features is online split screen, letting two players share a screen locally while competing online. It is currently planned for a 2026 release on PC and Xbox, with full cross-platform play and a public playtest scheduled for January. If we hear pirates, we usually think about boats. Surfpunk, however, not so much. You play as surfer pirates, raiding procedurally generated islands in a flooded world with up to 4 players in online co-op. Setting physics and balance concerns from all that loot aside, this is actually a very creative take on the genre. The combat mixes 4 weapon classes that let you battle through monster swarms while you scavenge ancient ruins for artifacts and complete missions. And if you are curious now and want to try it yourself, there's even a demo. According to the devs, it includes up to 10 hours of content across all difficulties, with plans to keep expanding based on feedback. The game will be released into early access sometime this year. RuneScape Dragon Wilds just opened the gates to Fell Hollow, the game's first major free update since early access. This new region sits north of Gornfell, a decaying land caught between life and death, full of undead monsters with a massive boss, the corrupted Imaru. Your group of up to 4 can push through the rot with new quests, steal gear and even mounts, starting with a Terror Bird that you can unlock with this side quest. But the real addition everyone waited for is the farming skill, twisted with a magical edge where seeds from different biomes grow best in matching planters, letting you weave sorcery into crops right from the early game. So if you have found RuneScape Dragon Wilds a bit too cheerful up until now, this expansion might just be what you've been looking for. It sits at very positive reviews and is currently also 30% off on Steam. Depending on where you live, snow might or might not be part of your current everyday life. In Everrail, however, you wish that it actually wasn't. Since in this frozen survival odyssey, a massive train is the only thing keeping you alive. The procedural wasteland forces constant movement. Stop too long and you freeze. So you ride down the tracks with a battery-powered beast of a locomotive, adding hundreds of customizable wagons as your mobile base. Kinda like Rail Gods of Hystera, but with way less eldritch horror. Up to 4 players can co-op online, switching between rail management, foot expeditions, and glider flights for scouting missions. And if one player falls outside, a passenger NPC steps in instead. But when the whole crew falls, the run ends for everyone. Early access launches in 2026, with the team planning a year or more of community-driven improvements until the final release. And if that was way too frosty for your taste, how about an indie Red Dead Redemption setting? Westlanders settled their horses for the first reveal trailer this week, bringing you to a 19th century Wild West sandbox. Instead of a train, you get to ride a wagon, which acts as a mobile base right from the start, letting you explore diverse biomes, harvest resources, and build outposts, or even full towns. The game supports solo or co-op play, where you manage production lines, ranch animals, fight bandits, and wildlife. Oh, and deal with random events that can wreck your progress if ignored. So better help the tied-up, screaming lady on the back of that stranger's horse. She might not be there voluntarily. This game is backed by Kickstarter, which starts off early 2026. Followed by PC early access and eventual console launch. If the Western setting and survival crafting has been missing for you, maybe keep an eye out for this one. Why always get shrunk to bug size like in Grounded when you can be the bug yourself? In Bodybug, these dreams can become reality. Sort of. As a 2D co-op roguelite lets you play as insect buddies in a hidden city corner, turning junk like bottle caps into shields, lighters into flamethrowers, and thumbtacks into traps. Just usual stuff that normal insects do, of course. It supports local or online 2-player teams, with different bugs to pick that each have unique skills. The gameplay centers around chaining physics reactions and elemental combos with water, oil, electricity, and fire. There is also a demo available on Steam right now if you want to have a look. War Tales' third expansion, The Curse of Rigel, went live on December 11th. It adds the new region of Rigel, complete with a cursed forest, Royal Knights faction, lycanthropes to hunt, and a thaumaturge class that brews battle potions. So your mercenary band can now tackle howling woods and twisted beasts, with progress carrying over seamlessly. If you have never heard of Eldegard before, we're right there with you. The reason for that is that this game was originally called Legacy Steel and Sorcery and has now been rebranded for its 1.0 release on January 21st. The new name reflects the in-game world and coincides with additional features like a much-needed PvE mode and a new paladin class. After some polishing delay, Ark Survival Ascended received its first major story expansion with the paid Lost Colony DLC. The new content shifts the world setting into something completely different. Instead of prehistoric lush jungles, everything is now icy, dark, and for story reasons, very red. You get multiple new maps ranging from tundras to calderas, with new creatures and a bunch of new skills and mechanics like outpost missions, a hostility system, and more. Jump Space, originally Jump Ship, dropped its augmented update right before the holidays. Grab your friends for the new data breach missions that launch alongside the augment system that lets you spec into 31 perks like shield boosts or bigger mags via level ups and suit unlocks. The new cargo bag lets you finally carry out some loot goblin runs, while improved buddy bots have your back, all with major stability fixes to keep your spaceship run smoother than ever. Voyagers of Nera released their Ships and Spirits Mega Update. Up to 10 players can now fully build and customize boats from hulls to spirit-powered cannons and speed charms, turning your vessel into a home base for ocean voyages. First trains, then wagons, and now ships. We see a pattern here. You can also finally level up spirit companions for bonuses. And finally, offline mode and cloud saves are also a thing now. Look what the cat dragged in! Goblin Cleanup added 2 new levels with its latest update. The Forge and Volcano bring scorching messes, new monsters, and mid-level savers for long co-op shifts. And if you're short-staffed, try out the new lobby makeovers. Dune Awakening revealed Chapter 3 for early 2026, their biggest free update yet. They teased a full endgame rebuild with instance dungeons, scaling raid bosses, new testing stations, missions via Landsrod, and map expansions, all tuned from player feedback. This time, co-op is at the center of the expansion, but PvP gets some tweaks as well. A good rivalry never hurts. Asuka's December update arrived right before the holidays. You can now farm Kicklings in new pens for eggs, battle a hostile tribe, and King Crawler boss in expanded Marsh Islands, and even summon the Mud Golem to your aid. We played Asuka quite a while ago when it was still very bare bones, but with all the stuff they're adding month by month, it's probably a good idea to revisit the game sometime soon. And lastly, some unfortunate news. The MOBA Supervive is sunsetting on February 25th due to low player counts. Servers stay up until then, with the final patch 2.05 live now. That includes the new Prisma Party mode and free skins for all. If you have just recently bought something from the game and feel you haven't gotten your money's worth out of it, you may contact the devs for a refund. This week, there are 2 exciting games available for free on the Epic Game Store, available until January 8. First, there is the recently released Wildgate, a PvPvE multiplayer shooter where you can build teams of up to 4 players to man customizable spaceships. The game combines tactical ship combat and first-person action, where crews loot resources, battle rivals, and race to extract an ancient artifact or be the last survivors. The second is the critically acclaimed Total War 3 Kingdoms, a strategy game set in ancient China, amid the fall of the Han Dynasty. Players command legendary warlords to conquer rival factions and unify the empire. It features grand turn-based campaigns focused on diplomacy and economy, with massive real-time battles. But that's our recap of the past 2 or so weeks in gaming. We hope you enjoyed the holidays and had a great start into 2026 already. And we hope to see you again in the next one.